Okay, I just got done fixing a Craftsman 2500i generator. It wouldn't start after one time running, and then it sat for a little while and wouldn't start again. That's how I got involved in this, and that seemed common. You could probably hear it in the background running. But what I found and I saw online, and excuse this cheapy video, I'm just going to show pictures on my phone and talk, was that the spark plug couldn't be taken out without ripping a lot of guarding off to get clearance. So I think, the real reason I made this video is just how I fixed that. So I took just took a socket with no rubber in it, so a deep well socket, heated up with my hot gun so I didn't get it too hot with a torch, and I just wobbled it on there and kept heating the socket, so I didn't want to burn anything, so I kind of carefully kept creeping up on it until that socket went over the spark plug, and then I kind of wobbled it around a little bit. So that was way better than ripping everything apart, or trying to cut that wouldn't have been good either. You would have cut a hole into the next chamber. So that worked out real well. I just advise don't burn it, so sneak up on it. So maybe you're wondering how I got it running, what the problem was. The spark plug was oh, there's the spark plug socket in there. Okay, it clears. There was some weird soot, so where it's silver is where I wiped it off with my finger. It looks like it was starting to tarnish. Usually when I get stuff, it's hard and you gotta scratch it off, and this was kind of like a paste, but it didn't look real dirty on the gap, so not sure. I'm sure it wasn't helping. Almost looked like rust proofing more than tarnished gas, but maybe. And there was some weird dirt down in there. Just kind of wondered why. Some more than just a light oil or gas. I just cleaned that out with some carburetor cleaner and then some starting fluid to finish it up. And then and that was kind of what was in there. So, I mean, not real bad, but it was new. And then one thing I'm going to tell you, I did take apart the carb and clean it. It was pretty clean. It didn't look too bad, like I saw in some of the videos. Brand new, ran once, and the bowl was just full of stuff. This was real clean. I did go through all the ports with the little wires and things, but I'm just going to recommend, don't watch out for this piece. Okay, it's under. Kind of hard to see here. I got it blocked, but be careful with that piece. Don't let it fly away. It's smaller than it looks. It's just sitting on there with that spring, so it kind of stays on somehow until you snap it too hard if you're messing with the butterfly valve. So I don't know. There's just a shot of it put together. And I did find some gaskets on the intake side that were not correct. There was foam in between some of the surfaces that was for the casing, not for the gasket, and the gasket wasn't all the way on one flange. This flange right here, it's kind of weird because you got to get the gasket on, and that's just going to suck some air, but you really don't want to suck the air from there. Over time, in those kind of areas. The other one was under this cover. That foam right there was smashed in. I'm sure that wasn't a big deal either, but take a look around. I did find a few things like that where it just wasn't sealed good, and you don't want to suck in air from that around that hot engine. It isn't a good idea, even if it's a little bit. But that was that. I plugged it in about 4 pulls it started up. And now I got it running with a fluorescent light till the guy comes and picks it up. I'm going to try and run it out of gas. And And just another test. So this is the one that I was fixing, the 2500i, and like you could see, it looks brand new. And then I use this manual for the gap 024 to 028 on the spark plug, the Generac. It is a Generac, made by Generac. So the outside's different. Inside, things are organized a little differently on some of the mechanical components, but basically it's the same unit, just packaged differently. So that was my experience. I thought that was way better than ripping apart all that housing, and then either you would have had to cut it to get the spark plug on, or you'd have had to cut it or rip it apart every time you needed to change the spark plug, which would be just horrible. This guy has this for his mom, who has some medical instruments plugged into it, so I mean, you don't need to be spending days trying to get a spark plug out. Alright, well, hope this helped, and I believe that the problem was just maybe when they test the gas at the factory, they're reusing it, they're dumping it in and testing it and dumping it out, and they may have some crud and not so real good gas, and it sits for a while, and maybe it runs once and all that stuff just kind of doesn't get flushed out, and it starts hardening back up if it sits again. I don't know. A lot of problems with that, but then also I saw that, you know, people that have them, they ran a long time, so they run them light duty though. The people who have had them a long time, they're not running air compressors and welders and high, something that's maxing it out all the time. I've heard on the reviews that it'll bog down and sometimes stall with too much load, and that's been my case on these small generators. You just can't push them too hard, and if you do, then they seem to get worse and worse, where it won't run anything. I pushed one from when I was 16. I'm like 56 now, at a racetrack. So running air compressors, welders, and all this stuff, fixing stuff right on the spot. And it was just a little Honda generator, about smaller than this really. Yeah, over time it just didn't want to run, didn't want to charge. All right, hope this helps.